Ukraine was pumped with weapons for 8 years. They are instigating aggression against the peaceful population of Donbass. Now they have launched hybrid warfare against us. They are using unprecedented anti-Russia sanctions. I would like to emphasize that Russia counters all these external pressures, sanctions, provocations, and it continues to develop. We will continue to strengthen ties with SCO member states and its member states. The trade between SCO countries grew last year by more than 37%. It reached a record high of $263 billion.
Let's unpack this with Swaran Singh in New Delhi. He's a professor of international relations at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Professor, thank you for joining us on this news hour. Just listening there to President Putin, this was his first international appearance since that failed Wagner mutiny. What do you think the message is that he was trying to send, not just to the countries involved in this meeting, but to the world as a whole?
I think clearly this was an important occasion for President Vladimir Putin to showcase that he is still in command, that his government is solidly placed where it is, and there is no threat to stability inside Russia. And he took that occasion to reassure not just SCO countries, but to the rest of the world as well. But of course, he also then mentioned that SCO needs to stand together in sort of contesting the sanctions that are imposed on Russia. But that is already the truth that several of the SCO countries, including the new member Iran and Belarus potentially, are close to Moscow, and SCO has been an important support base for President Putin to withstand the pressures of Western nations, both the political campaign and the economic sanctions in that sense. So he made good use of it. And in terms of his positive suggestions, he emphasized on increasing the use of local currencies in the expanding intra-SCO trade. And in that sense, SCO is full of economies that are growing much rapidly compared to Western advanced countries, and therefore possibility of working collectively to support the whole redemption of global economy and SCO nations' economies post-pandemic and post or in middle of Ukraine war in that sense. So I think it was a golden opportunity for President Putin to represent his case and say that he's still in command of things.
Yeah, and of course, just two of those countries, India and China, make up 40% of the global population. Was this quite a balancing act for Narendra Modi? It was just last month that he was in the United States meeting with Joe Biden. Now he's speaking to Russia and China. Two countries very much at odds with Washington.
I think there is an increasing acceptance of India standing on its own, pursuing its own national interest, using what we now call shift from non-alignment to multi-alignment, which means India is trying to build positive partnerships in as many sectors with as many countries as possible. And Ukraine war has been an ideal example of it, of withstanding pressures from both sides in that sense, engaging Russia for import of oil, which has seen the bilateral economic relationship booming up, but of course also building a very strong defense and technology relationship with the United States. And that is a difficult task to ensure that India is able to balance between multiple pulls and pressures from both sides, Russia and China on one side, and United States and European allies of the United States on the other. So far, India has managed well, I think, and there is also increasing recognition on both sides, if there are two sides to think of, that India would be able to engage both sides and stay in that balanced kind of an equation with both sides. I think the fundamental attraction for both sides today is this rapidly growing, in fact, the fastest growing economy of India among the top 20 economies. And India is already the fifth largest, projected to become the third largest economy within 5 to 7 years. So that attraction of huge market and infrastructure deficit and potential of investing and trading with India is something I think that works very well with both sides. But you're right, India has so far managed that balancing act very well, and it's a tough task. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, tough task indeed. Thank you so much for your analysis, Swaran Singh there in New Delhi.